Ryan Harris 511 surfboard, right? You try something like this with your board. Hey, this part, it's still ready to go. I'll see you later.
Shoot.
What's going on?
This is me. This is my brain on drugs.
Always wondered what surfboard channels do for your surfing. Had them on some boards, didn't have them on others. Well, today I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna go visit my buddy, Ryan. He shapes all kinds of weird boards, all different shapes, etc. And he does a lot with channels. So I'm gonna go check it out, see what these things are all about. All right, so I'm here today, my buddy, to see what exactly our channel's all about. He does everything with surfboards, makes them, and we're actually working on another project with this board right here. That hopefully we're bringing that to you soon. But today, we're gonna be talking about channels.
We're gonna talk about channels. I've been shaping them for 22 years. You got hard channels, you've got soft channels, you've got multi-channels, you've got short channels, you've got long channels. And they all do one thing. They create speed and lift, and going faster in surfing is very beneficial. You can make sections, there's all sorts of things that achieving maximum lift from channels will help.
All right, Ryan, what is this? This is the longest channel I think I've ever seen.
So this is, I tend to geek out when I design surfboards. I use a lot of math, but this was my #1 selling board during COVID and a couple of years after. It's my version of a mini Simmons, and basically the mini Simmons is essentially a longboard cut in half, and I wanted to give it more lift for when you're going to ride such a short board, and channels help do that. So you can be any different size surfer and ride something about a foot shorter than you're used to, and know you'll have plenty of speed, and these boards have enough volume that they work. But basically you have a nose to tail channel, the full length of the board, and it starts with single concave and then runs into double. That's why you have this little spine, and that's just something that I learned helps with backside and rail to rail transitions and the board not sliding out. But this is magic. This channel it's kind of extreme, because a lot of channels that I think people are used to seeing, they're like 4 or 6 channels right around the fins, and then they transition out. You never see 6 channels nose to tail. You'll see like ones that stop right about the back third of the board. But yeah, this single channel again gives the board lift because it's got very little rocker.
Right. So low rocker, but having these all the way through the board is just gonna channel water.
Yep.
To flow through.
Exactly. Okay. And it's basically, it narrows, right? It's narrower in the nose, and then as it goes towards the tail, the channels get closer to the fins and line up with the fins. And obviously water, as your board's going through, the wave, water's exiting off the back. So this basically just turbocharges your board and helps funnel the water off the tail. Without that, this board's not as fast, 100%. So this one's way less extreme. This is a Growler, a little bit more traditionally shortboard than that one. And you guys have probably seen, or people have seen, have boards with similar channels like this. These are baby channels, just right off the rear fins. And because they're exiting off the tail, it actually changes your rocker line, which you can feel in rail-to-rail transitions as well. And it's just that little bit of extra rocker off the tail helps keep your surfing a little bit tighter in your turns.
So it works,
and it's only here,
like almost like a fin, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing you have to remember about channels. They were on boards before the modern thruster was invented. What were they doing? Channels, right angle. Okay. So this face is surface area. Depending on how deep the channel was, that is surface area. That's creating lift. That's acting as a fin. So if you actually were to do the math and map out the fin, the channel surface area, and we're talking about like 70s. Back then, they didn't have the thruster, so we're talking about single fins with all these channels. That's creating more lift than just that one fin would do. But what we're getting at is that's about the same amount of surface area as a thruster or a quad.
And so this doesn't do anything as far as speed goes. It's more for control.
Exactly. And without pulling the tail in too much or messing with the overall design too much, I know that by just doing that off these exiting fins, it's going to change that rocker line and help your pivoting turns and, get everything tighter. Now, this one, I'm just...
Wait, what's going on?
This is me. This is my brain on drugs. So this is first off, it's an Asim. You can tell by the outline, and it's nuts. But we're talking about channels today, so we're not going to talk about this. We're going to flip it over and talk about how much craziness is going on.
Oh my God! Look at this thing. Just not even the channel, just the tail alone. Look at that thing.
So what we have that same single channel from the Mini Simmons, nose to tail. But so it's super deep. We basically have a double barrel Bonzer concave on this thing. You can see how deep it is, right? This is a really flat board. So I wanted to give it maximum lift for how flat it was based on what I was shaping it out of, and I was shaping it out of an old stub. So this is not a stub, it's a mid-length. It's really thick and pretty wide. But I'm just trying to maximize the performance out of something that was kind of a burgery shape. So yeah, deep, single channel, double barrel, crazy concave in that with a spine. And then that is coming out of another single up here, almost like a teardrop nose rider single concave.
Oh yeah.
But honestly, when your concaves get deeper, it's a blended channel. It's a soft channel. It has less bite. You don't have that hard edge. If it's got too much bite for too long, that's actually sometimes going to create drag, which is not good.
No.
So if we have just a deeper concave, you're going to get all the benefits of a channel with no drag. So we actually have a blended concave in the V on this side and then in here. And then as we get to the business end where the fins are, it gets real crazy, because we have what I call fluted channels going into, this one goes right into the fin, starts here, goes into the fin, and this one is in between the two fins.
Okay.
Right in here. There's a lot going on. There's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 channels on this board, and all completely asymmetric and different.
So because this was an SUP, is this thing just uber fast, or does it need it just to compete?
It's never been in the water yet, but I already know in theory it's going to be really fast for how much of a burger. It's almost 24 inches wide.
Okay.
And 3 1/4. So anybody can ride this board. So it's a conversation piece. I want people to try it. Anybody can try it, but it's going to be very fast and loose.
Right.
Which you sometimes don't get on a traditional hull or an 8-foot or a longboard. So for it being much shorter than like a 9.6, it'll be having about the same amount of foot, but more, like way faster.
Right.
We'll get some more, basically more performance attributes and more speed. Speed's the main word. That's what channels are for. Speed.
Sometimes I think you're on speed.
Yeah, I'm passionate. I love what I do. And I like making weird stuff.
Hey, talking about weird stuff, if you want to see some of the stuff he creates daily, follow him on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
It is eco.byride.
There you go.
That's it.
Check him out on Instagram. He's got a great page to follow. All kinds of crazy shapes he's doing daily out of here, including the one that we're getting ready to do.
Yeah, that's going to be nice.
Top secret.
The best part is everything's sustainable here. I upcycle all my waste. We're using bio-epoxy. We're at a sustainable campus. So trying to lead by example.
Perfect. Thanks, man. I appreciate your time.
Gee!